Saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last night. It was pretty good. Your typical Guardians movie. You know, all the characters had a nice role throughout the whole movie. I don't know if it was the best one of the three. I still think I like number one better. This one, I will say right off the bat, I'd be a little cautious of taking kids to it. For the simple reason of Rocket's backstory. That was basically the whole movie. And if you know anything about Rocket's backstory, he was experimented on, you know, has all those, I don't know what you want to call them, implants on him. And they did, I don't want to say they showed him getting those things put on. It was more like shadowy. But the way they portrayed some of the stuff and how the experimenting on animals, and showing helpless animals in cages, and even a couple animals that had been experimented on with different like body parts and stuff. I don't know if you want to take kids to see it. Might be a little bit sad or upsetting for them, I would feel. Even like when they showed like some of the younger animals, we'll say like when Rocket first went to this experimental planet or ship, like some of the other baby raccoons and stuff, like you're like, oh, little baby raccoons, but then you realize what's going to happen to them. They're all like basically going to die or get experimented on. I don't know if, again, you want to bring that conversation up with children. So I say that right off the bat, be cautious about taking kids to the movie, because it is a little bit upsetting about how it's about experimenting on animals. Even I found it a little bit dark for like a Marvel movie, just how they portrayed some of the stuff. But it starts off with them all on Nowhere, like rebuilding Nowhere, because that's their little Guardians of the Galaxy base now. Peter's still upset about Gamora, obviously losing the love of his life. And then, well, the story comes around because the people who experimented on Rocket want him back. In the worst way, because he holds the key to some intelligence without being violent, gene or development, whatever you want to call it. So they send the Sovereign and Adam Warlock to get him, like right off the bat, which causes a little bit of a fight. And then Rocket almost dies, but he's basically unconscious for probably 3/4 of the whole movie. So he has like a kill switch on his heart. So when he got attacked and they tried to save him with their medical kit, it set that kill switch into place, and they had like 48 hours to save him, I think is what they said. So that's basically the rest of the movie, them trying to save Rocket. So they have to go to a planet to get some information. That's where they meet back up with Gamora, and she's part of the Ravagers now. Peter tries to like hit on her a few times throughout the movie and convince her that he's still the love of her life, or his life, whatever, you know what I mean. But they go to this planet trying to get information, this code, so they could kill the kill switch off of Rocket's heart. They don't get it there. There was a little bit of a fight scene there. Then they have to go to this other planet that actually experiments on people with the head. I forget what the hell his name is now. Either way, whatever. the head dude that does all the experiments. They have to go find this guy that works directly under him, and that's like when the real fighting starts. You find out this dude actually kills the planet because once one of his experiments fails or not up to his liking, he just basically wipes out a planet and starts all over because he's trying to create a peaceful, perfect planet, but he hasn't been able to. But Rocket holds the key. That's why he wants Rocket back. It's kind of a back and forth the whole movie. That's sort of the main gist. They got Cosmos in it, Kraglin, you know, Sylvester Stallone's in it again. Much of the main characters that you've seen throughout the movie. In the end, they do hint at the new Guardians of the Galaxy group, because basically in the end they all split up, go their separate ways. Because Peter wants to reconnect with Earth. Gamora goes back to the Ravengers. And stuff like that. They do pick on Drax a lot. Call him dumb, but he does play a vital role in the end. Mantis also leaves to find her purpose, since she's always basically been a slave or did what other people told her to. But they all, again, they all play a vital role throughout the movie at different junctures. I don't know. It just mainly focused on Rocket being experimented on, going back and forth between real time and past time. And then the darkness of that, and then trying to save his life through the whole movie. And then you just had like little side stories throughout that. Like Kraglin trying to finally get the arrow to go right. And in the end, the Guardians saving a bunch of kids and animals off the experimental ship. I'm trying to think what else to tell you guys, but I don't know. I just felt it wasn't the best Guardians movie. It was, again, it was still pretty good. I would say the graphics were good. I know the main focus was supposed to be on, you know, Rocket and the experiments, but I kind of wish they didn't go with that and went with something else, make it a little bit better of a movie. I mean, it is 2.5 hours, so it does sort of get played out, but you really do see Rocket's character develop through the years, from like baby raccoon to when he was getting experimented on, and how he made some friends that also got experimented on that he was in cages with. They ended up getting killed, which sort of turned him into his persona, I guess, like his loner, screw the world because it screws me type deal. So that was portrayed actually pretty nice. You just sort of feel bad for some of the experimenting animals, even though there's a couple mashups throughout the movie that are like the bad guys or the sentries per se. You really don't feel bad for them, and they don't portray them to be anything of real feeling, but you just sort of see like how the reach of this guy who makes all this stuff works. But he wants to get Rocket to study his brain because he was able to figure out stuff that the Maker wasn't able to. So he thinks he has the key to understand it. And he actually hear how Rocket got his name, which is pretty neat. I don't want to spoil that. I would say go see it. You know, with any typical Marvel movie, you should go see it in theaters. It brings things to life a lot more than sitting at home on a TV. I just again wouldn't take kids to it because I just don't think the experimenting is going to go over well with kids and emotions and stuff like that, or even people that are real sensitive to that sort of thing. Just be cautious. Other than that, it's a good movie. Adam Warlock's just, I know people were waiting for him and more an appearance from him, but that is one thing I would say is like very disappointing, how crappy his character, I guess, is. It's more like childish and stupid than a developed character, even though he does play a little bit of a role in the end and throughout the movie. I guess he's just starting to learn a little bit. He hasn't come full adult Adam Warlock yet. Whatever. I don't know if there's really anything else to say without spoiling, but I don't know, that's about it.